for a living. In short, I make monsters. I'm a prosthetic special effects makeup designer. Anytime anybody needs anything built of that nature, monsters, humans, animals, then they usually come to us for that. The largest challenge of Dark Angel Season 2 was, of course, filling out the weekly requirements of the monster of the week, so to speak.
Because of the time constraints and how quickly we had to get them done, we cast an actor in a role, and maybe a week before he was scheduled to begin working, and that meant designing and creating an effect very, very quickly.
You get a new script. The script will define what's necessary, and then from there we go into a series of drawings, maybe as many as 25 different designs for a particular character that's mentioned in the script. Once the process of the design was nailed down, we would get the actor and begin the casting of the actor. Once we had the cast of the actor, we begin the sculpture of what the creature would look like. Then I would pass around designs of what the sculpture looked like. Once that was approved, then I was able to commit it into a mold. Once the mold was made, I would develop the skin, whether it was silicone, gelatin, or foam latex, depending on what the character was having to go through. Once the skin comes out of the mold, I paint it, pre-paint it, so it cuts time on set for application. And then the day comes where we apply it on set. To be able to draw the character, to create the design, to execute the design, to apply the design, and to pick up your check and go on to the next episode the following week, it's very little time. There's very little room for error. Some of the more exotic creatures that we created for Dark Angel were the Rhino Boy, as I call him. That was played by Mitch, who was also stunt coordinator on the show. We created a Panther Lady as well, mutants of all different sorts. There was a lizard character that we created for the finale, Gossamer, which is a full animatronic creature that we created. We had the luxury of working on that character for 2 weeks. This is foam latex with a rubber cement paint job over top of it. Very intricate paint job.
So what is the anyway?
She's Tasmanian ant-eating aardvark. An antbark, as we in the trade like to call it.
Joshua is also a favorite character.
Interestingly, Jim Cameron, who was very involved in the conception of this character, using some of Bill's sketches as a jumping off point, did a bunch of sketches of his own.
He decided to send me a bunch of designs, so I sat by the fax machine in anticipation.
And there was sort of a huge hubbub of excitement because we were getting through the fax machine these original Jim Cameron sketches hot off the press.
Before long, tons and tons of drawings were coming into my lap.
It was one of those sketches in particular that conceived of Joshua with sort of very long straggly hair and wearing a hood that really ended up becoming the basis for the character. And then Kevin came in and began to sit for several makeup tests. Once Kevin was cast in the role, we began to look at him and look at his face and start to think about how we could make him a memorable or extra human kind of character.
In choosing what type of dog to model Joshua after, we looked at Labradors, we looked at Shepherds, we looked at quite a few options, but the final result is more of a toned-down bloodhound. There's still a gentle nature about them, but they're a strong-looking dog.
Kevin spent days sitting in Bill Terzakis' chair while we developed that, and Bill...
The guy went through like 3 hours of makeup every morning and an hour and a half to take it off every night, and I respect him to no end for that.
One of my major concerns was not to pile on too much rubber on the face, to keep it quite thin so the actor would be able to bring across the most movement through the prosthetic piece.
He wore canine teeth, essentially. He had an upper plate that he would have to wear, and that affected his speech. And another part of the makeup process was to figure out how to shape that in such a way that it wouldn't restrict him so much as an actor, but he began to kind of incorporate and use that in his speech.
To be able to bring so much personality behind a prosthetic mask is not an easy thing to do.
Just working with it and with facial expression and how it all moved with my face and stuff, I realized that, you know, in order to play this tortured soul, this tortured character, it's so helpful to have the imperfections of genetic enhancement. It certainly helps me get into that place.
I know who you are. I love who you are. That matters. At least I hope it does.
It matters.
I consider Dark Angel to be a very rewarding experience. It allowed us to build so many new characters and to refine our skills. It was a very collaborative effort from all departments to make the creatures look good. I really enjoyed working on the show, and I feel that the crew here just did a tremendous job, and I very much liked all the characters that came out of the shop.